In this video, we're going to go over how I helped my client Nippon with his lower back pain and basically almost 100% fixed it in less than 2 weeks. So let's get right into it. So about September 17th, I want to say it was, I reached out to Nippon because he was saying that he was having some lower back pain for the past 7 years. And we went back and forth and just really talked about it. And he was doing the exercises from YouTube. He was doing a bunch of them, and basically just went down that YouTube rabbit hole to find something to give him relief. And everything that he did gave him some relief, but there was nothing that was giving him any long-term results. And more specifically, in Nippon's case, he was feeling it more on the right side of his lower back, around the love handle waist area. And this basically happened because he said that when he was younger, he jumped off a flight of stairs, I believe, and landed with his legs and knees straight. And from there, nothing was the same. And he was getting some shooting pain down his leg, especially when he was bending forward to try and touch his toes or tie shoes or anything along those lines. And he told me that his hamstrings felt super, super tight and that he wasn't even able to bend or hinge from his hips at 45 degrees without his hamstrings feeling like they were going to rip off his thighs. He went to the doctor and got it treated, but there was really no long-term solution. Nothing really got fixed. He was also diagnosed with sciatica as well. And when we started working together, he was already doing dead bugs. He was doing bird dogs. He was doing a lot of glute bridges and basically a lot of body weight stuff at home. So a lot of squats as well and upper body work. So he still is actually very active, considering he was dealing with the lower back pain for the past 7 years. So he sent me a side posture photo, and we've determined that there was some anterior pelvic tilt. And if you don't know what anterior pelvic tilt is, let me pull it up right now. So let's take a look here. Pelvic tilt. So anterior pelvic tilt is when the pelvis is tilted forward, which basically brings the front of the pelvis down and the back of the pelvis up. And when this happens, that's going to create an extra lordotic curve, so an exaggerated curve in the lower back. And that's actually going to pull the hamstrings in a lengthened position. So putting the pieces of the puzzle together, we figured out that a lot of the tightness he was feeling in his hamstrings was because they were lengthened. And basically when they were lengthened, they were forced to stay tight because otherwise the pelvis would be tilting more forward. And with this anterior pelvic tilt, with the exaggerated lumbar or lower back curve, that's basically going to have the facets or the back part of the spine in a kind of like in a jammed position, which is going to cause some problems when extending your lower back forward or flexing your spine, aka trying to touch your toes. So what we wanted to do was, first, we wanted to get some decompression in the lower back, since the anterior pelvic tilt is causing a lot of jamming in the lower back. And we did that by doing a supine 90-90 decompression with diaphragmatic breathing. And if that sounds like a mouthful, basically what it is you're basically lying on your back and your hips and your knees are at 90 degrees. So as you can see, they're 90 degrees here and 90 degrees here. And you want to put something in between your groins as well. And with this exercise, you want to gently pull down or dig your heels into the bed or the couch wherever you're doing the exercise. And when that happens, that's actually going to activate the hamstrings. And by activating the hamstrings, it's actually going to flatten out the lower back. And when your lower back gets flattened, that's actually going to decompress the back, or I guess the back of the lower back. It sounds really confusing, but by doing that and by doing the diaphragmatic breathing, which basically means you're inhaling into the belly, which is going to make your belly rise up, and when you exhale, you do a full exhale, which is actually going to cause your obliques or the side core muscles to engage. That's actually going to help bring the ribs down too. Because what you'll see a lot in people with anterior pelvic tilt is when you have that exaggerated lower back curve, your ribs are going to be flared forward as well. So this drill actually helped Nippon a lot. And he was doing this for about 2 minutes every day, a couple times a day if he was able to. And he noticed a lot of relief with it, which is really, really awesome. And then from there, once the lower back was decompressed and the nerve was more desensitized and he was able to move better, we actually got him to do a hip hinge. So the goal of the hip hinge for Nippon was to mobilize and strengthen his hamstrings. Now, in his case, with the anterior pelvic tilt, let's go back to the picture here. So when the pelvis is tilted forward, let's find another one. So this is a good one. So when that pelvis is tilted forward here, those hamstrings are forced to lengthen or stretch, but they're also going to become tight as well. And he's been working in an office for the past 2 years, and he's actually going back to school, which means he's going to be sitting for even longer periods of time. And when you're sitting for long periods of time, those hamstrings are going to become weak, essentially. So by getting him to do the hip hinge, we got him to, 1, strengthen the hamstrings, and 2, mobilize them, which basically meant stretching them, but moving them through its full range of motion, or a range of motion that he was comfortable with before his lower back started to act up. And if you're unsure of how a hip hinge looks like, we can take a look at one of these videos that I posted here. Let's take a look here. Let's go. Going down the wall hip hinge while retraining your body, how to properly use your hips, and how to. We got him to start doing the hip hinge against the wall there. You're not using your back. And the goal of that with the hip hinge was to push his hips back so his hips felt the wall, and then he basically came forward. And we started him off by doing that because he wasn't sure how to hip hinge, and we needed to train his body and his nervous system to understand how to move properly, and to basically tell his body and his nervous system, like, hey, it's okay to move. We can do this. And once he was able to do the hip hinge with the wall, he was doing hip hinges without the wall. And eventually he mastered that, and then he started doing hip hinges using weights. So I wasn't sure what he was using. He might have been using dumbbells if he had it at home, or just a backpack or something weighted. But this was a phenomenal exercise. And by doing the hip hinge and by doing the supine 90-90 decompression, he was doing it for about 10 to 12 days, I believe, and he noticed a big difference. And the biggest difference that he noticed was when he went to bend down, he could go more than 45 degrees. So before seeing me, he could only bend about like this before he felt his hamstring and his lower back kind of seize up. But now he's almost at 90. So he's almost here. He's probably just under 90, but still, it's a huge improvement from when we first started working together, which was basically 2 weeks. We'll just say 2 weeks just to round up. But it's been phenomenal working with him. He's very a great mind. He has a great mindset, and he's very adamant on fixing his lower back, which is phenomenal. So one thing that I do want to talk about with this video, with nipping aside, is, in my opinion, it's better to do 2 to 4 movements slash exercises that are specific to your body and specific to your problem, instead of going on YouTube and going down the YouTube rabbit hole and seeing 6 or 10 or 15 different videos that go over all these different stretches and all these different exercises. It can be very overwhelming, and it can be very time consuming as well, especially if you're busy, and especially if you don't have a lot of time to do all these things. Like, there's no point in doing something that isn't going to work. It's just a waste of time. So Nippon and I are still working together. We are refining his program a little bit, and really tweaking it to be able to get him the best results. He has a little bit of lower back issues still. It's the last 5 to 10%. He's at about 90 to 95%. So this last little bit is really just to kind of loosen up that right side where he still feels the stiffness. He says that it's nowhere as painful as it was before. It's more just stiffness. So we're really working on just a lot of like mobilization and stretches and activation to eventually get him back to 100%. And that's basically it in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're someone dealing with any chronic lower back pain from sitting in the office all day, click the link in the description. And if you want to work together, we definitely could. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.